Genshin Impact is a hard game to talk about. Being constantly updated throughout the year, many things that I've complained about were changed, and it's possible many other issues that I have will be too, which is why I never went through with my Genshin Impact review video because I was always waiting to see what the next big update will be. So eventually I just said F it. I want to make my video on the changes I want to see in Genshin Impact, and hopefully my review will be up later this year, based on my upload schedule. It might be a few years. So this is my fixing Genshin Impact video. I play Genshin Impact just about every day, and I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love building up my characters and team, but I feel like there's not a lot to do in the game, on top of the banner system just being a bit. So with these changes, I not only want to make the day-to-day content for Genshin Impact better, but also improve the general player experience. This video will be separated into different categories to keep it organized, and with that out the way, let's get into the first section, the banner system. This banner system is atrocious. I was having a perfectly good time playing the game, saving up my primo gems, building up my team for months, all to get Hu Tao. And who did I end up pulling? Jean. Fucking Jean. Does anyone know the actual rates for the banner? If you haven't looked at the maths, let me break it down for you. 3 stars, which are the weapons nobody actually wants in the game and they aren't even good for XP fodder, have a drop rate of 94.3%. The 4 stars, which are the actual good stuff, have a percentage of 5%, and the 5 stars, the best items in the entire game, can be grabbed with the low rate of 0.06%. What in the ever-loving crisis is this? Is insane. Now the game gets around this with the pity system. Once you hit 75 pulls, the rate for the 5 stars goes up, and you can usually pull a 5 star within 10 pulls after passing 75, on top of being guaranteed a 5 star once you hit 90 pulls. But Jesus Christ, these rates are terrible. Can we at least get the 5 star rates up to 1%? 2%. It's 2% too much to ask for, MiHoYo. 2%. You know, not to get too crazy with the rates, MiHoYo. No, gotta make some money, I guess. But I think 90% for 3 stars, 8% for 4 stars, and 2% for 5 stars would be amazing, while still keeping the pulls rare and fun. You know, ideally I'd love to see something like 85 for 3 stars, 12 for 4 stars, and 3 for 5 stars, but you know, can't get too crazy with the rates. Can we get a display on the banner to show how many pulls we have? Yeah, I know we can go through the history, but come on. And also, has anyone talked about the cost of primo gems? This shit is ridiculous. Not sugoi. Very not sugoi. Now, if you haven't looked into it, the amount of primo gems you would need to get a guaranteed 5 star at 90 pulls is around, let's say, 14,000 to 16,000 primo gems. The problem is, if you were to spend $100 on this game to buy primo gems, you would only get around 12k primo gems, which could be enough because of the 5 star rate up after you go past 75 pulls. But again, to get a guaranteed 90 pull, you have to spend over $100. Or let's look at another one. Let's just say you want to drop $15 for primo gems. Well, what can that get you? That can get you almost 8 pulls. Now, things do get a bit different on your first time buy. The first time you buy a packet of primo gems, they offer you the same amount of primo gems back. So if you pay, like, say $100 for primo gems the first time, you get 6,480, and then an additional 6,480. And then the second time you buy $100 worth of primo gems, the extra primo gems you get will be less. I can't see that because I haven't paid $100 for the game, but for example, if you were to spend $15 on a game, you would get enough for a 10 pull the first time you buy it. The second time you spend $15 on the game, you only get enough for 7 to 8 pulls. You can spend $15 on the game, and after the first time, you won't have enough primo gems to get a full 10 pulls. These primo gem prices need to be adjusted. The amount of primo gems you get per purchase need to be adjusted. This is not okay. Another change I wanted to make was limiting the amount of 4 stars on the banner from 3 characters to 2. I might not mind 3 characters with the adjusted rates that I made for the banners, or even just adjusted rates in general. But with the current rates, you can do 60 pulls and not even get 1 copy of the rate up 4 star that you wanted. And if you're like me, you can spend 40 pulls on the first Bennett banner, one of the best characters in the entire game, and have to wait for the next rate up banner to actually get a Bennett. Never mind the constellation, you know, his very first constellation that raises him from S tier to like S. Well, forget about that. Just be grateful you got the 1 copy of Bennett. Okay, hear me out. What if the weapon banner shared pity with the character banner, or even the standard banner. Either or is fine with me. Okay, hear me out. I am a free-to-play player. Free-to-play means I am broke as hell, poor, dirt poor even. And because of that, I've never pulled on the weapon banner, but I want to. I want some of the 5-star weapons. I want some of the weapon banner exclusive 4-star weapons. If I can invest in one banner like the character banner and then decide that I don't want the 5-star character for this banner and then pull on the 5-star banner to get a guaranteed weapon, I would be happy. Would MiHoYo ever do this? Probably not, because that means less money, but come on, give me something, MiHoYo, please. Now, this isn't my idea, but the rambling of a Redditor who had the idea of converting pulls into item drops. Shout out to that name for this idea. Essentially, 3-star items are only really useful for the early game, like early game. As you play the game and continue raising your team, 3-stars become absolutely useless. And their idea was, what if after 50 or so pulls into any banner, all 3-star pulls are converted into items like Mora, talent books, XP books, weapon cores. Since we're spending money in premium gems on pulls, why not give us something useful we can actually use? I think that's a neat idea. So, with the banner system changed to be less horseshit, I think it's time to address the domains. Now, domains are the bulk of your day-to-day content, from artifact farming to talent book farming to artifact farming to artifact farming to artifact. And it can be so hard to actually get the artifact that you want, and I want to fix that. Did you know that at the highest level domain for weapon essential materials, you're not guaranteed a purple weapon essential material, which is insane. I can get a guaranteed purple artifact, but not a guaranteed purple weapon ascension? Why? You might not even get a gold drop. The same for talent books. While I would love guaranteed gold drops for the highest level for all domains, which would be beautiful, it would fix 60% of my problems with the game. At the very least, can we at least get a guaranteed purple drop at the highest level for each domain, no matter what domain you're doing? At the very least, purple, MiHoYo. Purple. I would love gold, but can we just start at purple, please? Another change to the domains, which is something everyone wants, is letting us click which artifact we're farming. As you know, each domain has 2 artifact sets that could potentially drop at the end of the mission. And between all of the bad subsets split between 2 different artifacts, it's very easy to get trash artifacts you don't want. And for some of us, this string of bad luck can last for months. I pulled Eula on the first day her banner dropped, and I do not have I don't even have a decent bloodstained pale flame set for Eula. Her build has not been finished for almost a month, and I am tired of farming these artifacts. Please, MiHoYo, make it stop. Also, can we finally update the artifact system? Remove all subsets from any artifact that drops from a max level domain. With the exception of Elemental Mastery, remove all flat stats from the pool, like plus 20 HP, plus 10 attack, and just only have percentage subsets from all artifacts from the highest level domain, with the exception of EM. Now, many people want the ability to re-roll artifacts. It could be some special item that drops from the truancy domains, but people want a rare item that they can use to re-roll all the stats from the artifact that they have maxed out. Now, while I think this would be great, especially for those crit damage artifacts that hit HP 5 times, Jesus Christ, but the thing that I really want for artifacts is an item to lock certain artifact sets. Again, however you get it doesn't really matter to me, but with this item, you can find an artifact, let's say a nice feather with some crit rate and crit damage. Ooh, looking sexy, ooh. But unfortunately, it also has an HP stat, and you're thinking, I don't want to roll even once on HP. So you use this item, you lock the HP stat, and as you're maxing out the artifact, that HP stat will never raise. I need this, please. I will do anything you want, MiHoYo. Anything. Now, after talking about the domains and artifacts, the next section I want to address is the general content of Genshin Impact. Now, on to the content section. Now, if you play Genshin Impact for long enough, you start to notice that there aren't a lot to do in the game. The typical daily routine for higher AR Genshin Impact players might go something like this. You log on, you do your 4 daily commissions, you use your 1600 resin to farm some god-awful artifacts, you do the spiral bits if you haven't done it, and then you you stand around, climb that wall, you check your mail for free items, then I don't know. Genshin, I'm out of resin, what should I do now? Turn the game off. I want to fix that. I want to provide more free resin content to change up the daily routine, while also changing up the resin required content to make the game more fun and enjoyable. So to start it off, I think the resin cap should be increased to 2,000. Just a small increase. Some people want 2,400 and some people want to get rid of the resin system altogether, so but let's start small. I think an even Steven 2,000 is fine. And while we're at it, let's also increase the resin recharge rate. Now personally, I would prefer if the resin just auto refilled at specific times every day that was set by some internal clock in the game, so I could just log in, do my domains, and come back in say 12 hours and have all my resin back. But regardless, people want their resin refresh rate to be higher. Instead of 1 resin every 8 minutes, maybe 5. So with that out the way, let's start talking about some big changes for the game, and I got some ideas. Leyline events should be 15 resin. Nothing feels as bad as running out of Mora, and instead of farming terrible, god-awful, Jesus Christ help me artifacts, you have to spend the entire day farming Mora. I feel like I wasted my entire day doing ley lines. Now with the ley lines at 15 resins and the domains would say at 20, while I'm okay with the open world bosses being 40, maybe lower it to 30, maybe keep it at 40, who knows. I think the weekly domains, the truancy domains, should go back up to 60 resin. Yes, no, wait, stop hearing me out, don't boo me. It makes no sense for the weekly bosses that are supposed to give you the best drops like boss item converters to be the same resin cost as your open world bosses. Maybe 60 is a bit too high, maybe 50, but in terms of importance, I think the weekly bosses should be the highest. In terms of resin list content, I think there should be free ley lines every week. Now I'm not sure if there should be free daily ley lines or have a weekly limit. Either Mora or XP books, you should get 2 to 3 ley lines a day. Now the reason I was considering a weekly limit is for if you miss a day, you won't miss out on your free ley lines. And since you have a weekly limit instead of a daily limit, you could still just make up for it whenever you have the time for it. But you know, weekly, daily doesn't really matter to me. Now the reason why I wanted to raise the weekly bosses to the highest resin cost, besides it making the most sense to me for the weekly content to be a higher cost than the daily content, is because I think weekly bosses should have a 1 free attempt every week. Now with there being about 5 truancy domains with more likely to come, getting them all for free might be a bit much. So let's go with 3. You get 1 free attempt on any 3 different bosses every week, and with that you can then use your resin to fight one outside of your free uses. And with the 3 free attempts, you get more daily content because you have more things to do. Unlike me, I haven't done the full list of truancy domains in like 2 months because I've just been busy farming Eula artifacts. After adjusting the current content of the game, how about some new content? Now I've heard that one of the reasons we aren't getting more permanent content is because of mobile. While this is just a rumor, it does make sense to me. To keep the game sizes small for mobile phones, they use more temporary content that they then take out the game every update to save space. And all I have to say to that is, if mobile is holding back the game, then let it go.
Kill it if you have to.
This game could be so much better and it has so much potential, and if mobile is hindering that, you gotta go. So let's talk about some more permanent game modes. I think a permanent social game mode or 2 will be really fun for the game, like the hide and seek game mode or the tower defense game mode. I think a lot of people really enjoyed those 2. Not only should some of these game modes be permanent content, of course with some daily rewards to incentivize people to play it, but it would be cool if they rotated game modes every month. So this month could be hide and seek, next month could be tower defense, the month after that could be a different game mode. And this would be separate from the event exclusive game mode, so we would technically be getting 2 every month for a banner. Introduce arenas. I think it would be really cool if there was an arena style game mode that was meant to be hard, meant to push your teams to the limit. It would offer 5 different rewards at the same time too. So it would offer you artifacts, you know, like the Gladiator and Wanderer set, talent books or weapon essential materials, Mora or monster drops or XP books, and possible a few other rare materials like fragile resin. So you'll essentially get 4 to 5 guaranteed drops from different categories. Now I also want to bring back that event that let you add multipliers to the event, like taking more damage, increasing enemy health. I really don't remember what the event was called, but I thought it was a creative system that allowed players to adjust the difficulty, so we could even throw that into the arena. Each wave of the arena increases how many items you could potentially get, but by using these multipliers to increase the difficulty, you can then increase the rarity of the items that you'll get, like, you know, through the increased health, increased damage, less stamina. Once you hit a certain rank in the arena, all your artifacts get upgraded from a guaranteed purple drop to a guaranteed gold drop, or you'll have access to things like having a chance to get a fragile resin. I think that could be really fun. I also want to add more content that require 2 teams. We have the Spiral Abyss, but I kinda don't like the Spiral Abyss. It's such a commitment to have to go through each floor. You can't just start on floor 11 too. You have to go through the entire 11th floor, and then you have the random debuffs to increase cooldown of moves, less stamina. It irritates me to no end, and it kinda makes me not want to play the Spiral Abyss. I just want more content that requires 2 teams to make use of the 30, 40, 50 characters that we have. I mean, we could even have 2 teams for the arena. Like, I have theory crafted like the best teams for my loadout and my main DPSs that I never get to use because I never have content that requires me to use them, or I've never have content that requires me to use more than 1 team. And I don't want to go through the Spiral Abyss. We can have some of the truancy domains have 2 phases, and in 1 phase you can use 1 team, the 2nd phase the other. Now, I believe those are the biggest sections that I wanted to change about the game. And with that, my dear viewer, I have single-handedly saved Genshin Impact. I really enjoy playing this game, but I feel like it could be so much better. With these changes that I and many of you want to see in the game, I believe it would make the game so much better for just about any player, new and old. So thank you to anyone who actually sat through to the end of the video. What changes would you personally like to make in Genshin Impact? If you enjoyed watching, don't forget to drop a like and sub to my channel, and peace. Thanks for watching.